Okay, let's just dive right in. If you're listening to this, I'm willing to bet you felt that cycle of just complete frustration.
Oh, for
You
sure.
get a burst of motivation, a
Right.
new fitness kick, maybe you want to learn a language,
Yeah,
and you go all in for what, 2 weeks?
if that.
And then poof, it just vanishes. And we always think the problem is us, that we're lazy or we just don't have enough willpower.
And what's so fascinating about the framework we're digging into today, James Clear's work, is that it tells us that whole narrative is just fundamentally wrong.
Okay.
The problem is almost never you. The problem is the design.
The design of your system.
Exactly. You're trying to make these huge changes with like monumental effort, but real lasting change. It requires a completely different approach.
And that really is the whole mission of this deep dive.
Mhm.
We are pulling out the actionable blueprint for how you can stop relying on that unsustainable motivation.
And start engineering small, consistent habits that deliver something that feels uh, totally counterintuitive,
Yeah.
exponential change.
It sounds too good to be true.
Well, the fundamental concept you have to accept right up front is this. Improving your life doesn't mean you need some radical overhaul. It just requires a commitment to tiny, tiny improvements,
Compounded over time.
compounded over long periods of time.
Yes. Let's start with the math on that, because this is where the source material really hooks you. It's this idea Clear calls the 1% rule.
Right.
We're not aiming for some huge leap. We are literally just trying to get 1% better every single day,
And that 1% is so small, it's often invisible. And that's exactly why people quit.
because they don't see it.
They don't see it. But mathematically, if you get 1% better every day for a year, you end up almost 38 times better than where you started. That's exponential growth.
Wow.
But here's the scary part, the flip side.
Hmm.
If you let yourself get just 1% worse every day, by the end of the year, you've declined almost down to zero.
So if it's so small, why is it so easy to just skip a day? And I mean, how long do you have to wait before you see any actual progress? Because that's the quitting point, isn't it?
Absolutely. This is what the book calls the valley of disappointment.
Okay.
You start a new habit. Say you exercise for 10 minutes. After 2 weeks, you measure your results and you see nothing.
Right. I'm still the same.
You're still the same. You are making progress, but the results just haven't broken through that visible plateau yet. And because habits compound so slowly at the start, people just assume it isn't working.
And they quit right before the curve is about to shoot up.
Right before it kicks in, you have to endure that valley, just trusting the system before the results, become loud.
And enduring that valley means you have to focus on the process, not the outcome.
Yeah.
Which brings us to, I think, the most foundational idea in all of this.
The difference between goals and systems.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's the quote that really, it just stopped me in my tracks. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
That just perfectly encapsulates why, ambition alone isn't enough. Goals give you direction. You need them to know what hill you're climbing. But the systems, that's the machinery. It's your climbing gear, your technique, your schedule. It's what makes sure you're actually making progress up that hill.
Even on the days you don't feel like it.
Especially on the days you don't feel like it.
So, okay, if I say I want to be debt-free, that's my goal. How would a system approach that differently? Give us one of the examples from the book.
Okay, so the focus shifts completely to the small daily process. For instance, the goal could be a sparkling clean house.
We all want that.
The system is just wiping down the kitchen counter for 2 minutes after every single meal. Or the goal is writing a book. The system is just writing 200 words a day.
So you're not even thinking about the finish line.
Not at all. You're just focused on never missing the process.
And that's really the key takeaway for you listening. If you follow that small, repeatable system, the bigger goal just becomes inevitable. You stop needing willpower, and you start using structure.
You're always moving forward, even if it's just a tiny bit.
So we've got the structure systems over goals. But structure needs fuel. And if motivation isn't reliable, what's the true source of that long-term energy? What stops us from sliding back?
That leads us to identity-based habits. And this is really where the framework goes from like a productivity hack to a deep mechanism for real change.
Okay.
Most people, they approach habits from an outcome level. I want to read 20 books this year.
Which is a classic New Year's resolution.
Exactly. But the identity approach shifts the whole conversation.
That focus on the outcome, the number, the pounds lost, it feels so brittle. Because if you miss one day, the whole thing can feel like a failure.
Right.
But shifting to identity, That sounds a little abstract. What's the psychological mechanism there?
Okay, so when you set an outcome goal, the behavior feels external. When you adopt an identity goal, it becomes internal. It's driven by your self-image.
Ah.
And here's the secret. Your habits aren't really about what you achieve. They're about who you become. Every time you perform a habit, you're basically casting a vote for the type of person you want to be.
A vote. I like that.
And the more you cast those votes, the stronger that new identity gets.
Hold on. That feels like a huge shift in self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
And that is incredibly hard for someone who's, failed a dozen times.
Mm-hmm.
How do you start believing you are a reader instead of just feeling like you're faking it?
That's a critical point. The identity doesn't just shift because you say some positive affirmations. It shifts because of small, undeniable proof.
Okay, so you need evidence.
You need evidence. You don't start by saying, I am a marathon runner. You start by saying, I'm the type of person who never misses putting on my running shoes.
That's it.
That's it. Every time you put the shoes on, you've cast a vote for that running identity. The evidence builds up until the identity just becomes real. The question to ask yourself is, what would a healthy person do right now?
That completely reframes it. It's not about willpower, which we know is finite. It's about being consistent with a new self-image.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I see myself as a healthy person, I just act like one. I don't have to fight myself to go to the gym. It's just what I do.
When the identity shifts, the behavior just follows automatically.
And that eliminates the need for that unsustainable motivation we were talking about at the very beginning.
Okay, so we have the philosophy, systems over goals, identity over outcomes. Now we need the practical blueprint, the how-to.
Right.
And the book provides this incredibly simple 4-step framework for how every habit works.
Mm-hmm.
Cue, craving, response, or reward.
And if you understand that loop, you can start to intentionally design your habits. This is where it becomes a real toolkit.
Let's break those down.
Yeah.
First, to build a good habit, you have to make it obvious. That addresses the cue.
Correct. You have to make the cues for your habit impossible to ignore. And the best technique for this is something called habit stacking.
Habit stacking.
You don't try to find a new time for your habit, you just bolt it onto a habit you already have. The formula is, after I do my current habit, I will do my new habit.
So like, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute.
Perfect. The coffee becomes the undeniable cue for the meditation.
Okay, law number 2. Make it attractive. This is linked to the craving. How do you make something like, I don't know, budgeting more appealing? The reward is so far away.
This is where you use temptation bundling. You pair an action you need to do with an action you want to do.
Okay.
For instance, you only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while you're at the gym or while you're doing the laundry.
So you link the thing you want with the thing you have to do.
You link the high dopamine activity with the low dopamine one. It makes the necessary habit immediately more attractive.
I love that. Okay, the third law feels like the most important one for that 1% improvement.
Yeah.
Make it easy. That's the response.
Yes. Reduce the friction so much you can't say no. And this is where the 2-minute rule comes in.
The 2-minute rule.
You scale down every new habit so that it takes less than 2 minutes to start. If you want to run 3 miles, the 2-minute version is just put on your running shoes.
That's it.
That's it. If you want to read a whole book, the 2-minute rule is read 1 page. The goal isn't to master the habit itself. It's to master the art of showing up.
You make it so easy that it requires almost zero willpower to just get started.
Exactly.
And finally, law 4. Make it satisfying. The reward. Yeah. This is the big challenge, right? The benefits of good habits are delayed, but our brains want gratification now.
Right. So we have to create an immediate artificial reward. And the best technique for this is usually a habit tracker.
Like checking a box on a calendar.
Yes, that physical act of checking the box. If you're trying to save money, the moment you transfer funds, you check it off. The immediate reward isn't the future wealth. It's the satisfaction of not breaking the chain.
The Seinfeld strategy.
The Seinfeld strategy, don't break the chain. The chain itself becomes the reward and another vote for your new identity.
That's a complete system for building good habits. But what I love is that the material just flips it for breaking bad ones.
It's the elegant design of the whole thing. You just reverse the 4 laws.
So to break a bad habit, first, you make it invisible.
Eliminate the cue. If you watch too much TV, take the remote and put it in a drawer in another room. If you eat junk food, don't buy it. Get it out of the house.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Literally. Second, you make it unattractive. You have to consciously reframe the benefits. Think about the negative long-term consequences right before the craving hits.
Okay, third, and this is where most people fail when they try to quit something. Make it difficult.
You have to introduce massive friction. If you're ordering too much takeout, delete the apps from your phone. Force yourself to re-download them and re-enter your credit card every single time.
Make the bad habit a huge pain.
A tedious ordeal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And finally, make it unsatisfying. Impose an immediate cost.
Yeah, this usually requires an accountability partner or like a consequence contract. If you skip a workout, you have to immediately donate $20 to an organization you actively despise.
Oh, that's brutal.
It has to be. You have to attach an immediate psychological or financial cost to the bad habit to make it deeply unsatisfying.
So as we pull this all together, the real value here is that this framework, it frees you. It frees you from needing to be this super motivated, high willpower person.
It's a system that's simple, it's backed by science, and it's realistic. It only relies on small, consistent steps.
And the impact is not marginal. It's genuinely transformative. The sources are just filled with examples of people who achieve these massive results.
And not because they changed their goals, but because they changed their systems and, critically, their identity.
We're talking about people losing 50+ pounds, reading 40 books a year, starting businesses.
And these outcomes weren't from one big decision. They were the inevitable result of thousands of those tiny, non-negotiable votes for a new identity.
So you walk away from this with more than just a few tips. You get a whole new way of thinking about success that, frankly, bypasses the need for painful self-discipline.
Ultimately, you won't just have better habits. You will become the kind of person who naturally improves. The systems are just working for you in the background. Your progress becomes almost inevitable.
So if you really want to accelerate your growth, just stop chasing that fleeting feeling of motivation. Stop chasing the huge, overwhelming goal. Instead, identify the person you want to become, and then right now, engineer the system that supports that identity.
That's the whole game.
So here's the final thought for you to consider today. What tiny 1% vote, a vote that takes less than 2 minutes, can you implement right now to prove to yourself that you are committed to the identity you desire?